Good evening, everybody. Have a seat, please. Good evening. Today's meeting is open to the public, and a very warm welcome to you all in attendance. My name is Councillor Talib Hussain, and I am the chair of the local area committee. Before I ask other councillors to introduce themselves, I will hand over to the Democratic Services to read out the housekeeping arrangements. Over to you.
Apologies. Thank you, Chair. Before we start, there are just a few housekeeping arrangements to mention. Can I please request that mobile telephones and other such equipment are switched to silent mode so as to not disturb the conduct of the meeting? There is no fire test planned for today. If there is an emergency evacuation, please take instruction from the council staff present. The meeting today is open to the public and will be streamed live and for subsequent broadcasts via the council's website. You should be aware that the Council is a data controller under the Data Protection Act. Data collected during this webcast will be retained in accordance with the Council's published policy. By entering the meeting room, you are consenting to be filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting. One final thing to mention. We have hearing loops available. If you would like to use one, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. Can I ask members and officers around the table to introduce themselves? From my right.
Hi everybody, I'm Lindsey Hill, I'm the LAC manager. I'm Sophia Saeed, I'm the deputy chair.
I'm Fiona Martinez, I'm a Principal Democratic Services Officer.
So I'm Mark Jones, Birmingham Councillor.
Fran Belbin, Councillor for First Park Ward.
Malcolm Camp, Development Manager at Green City Action.
Thank you, everybody. Before we proceed with the agenda, I would like to explain how the meeting will work. First, we will deal with the formal business of apologies, declarations and minutes of the last meeting. We will then move to the item of the North East Local Area Committee spend report. The area manager will firstly give a presentation. There will then be a discussion and debate, and member of the committee will be asked to note the recommendation of the report. Then there will be an environmental case study by Green City Action. Then there will be an interactive session with public participation. And finally, we will have public question and answer session. Any apologies?
Yes, we have a number of apologies today, unfortunately. Councillors Dawn Dale, Jane Dunn, Abdesam Mohammed and Peter Price have sent their apologies.
I think Councillor Abdul Qayyum and Councillor Mike Chaplin, they are on their way and they are a bit late. Item number 3, exclusion of the public and press. There are no items that require the exclusion of public and press. Item 4, members' declaration of interest. Does any member wish to declare an interest? No. Thank you. Item 5, can we defer until other member arrive? No. So, item number 6. Can I also ask members to defer that as well? Item number 7. Green City Action's presentation. Can I ask Malcolm, come to present the presentation of the environmental case study. Thank you, Malcolm. Sorry, put you on spot.
Okay. Oh, I don't know if these. Okay. These are just going to go off in the background. I put the GCA proposal, the Green City Action proposal for Councillor Mark Jones and Talib Hussain, and they've read it through in detail. In summary, it is as follows. One person, one plastic grass rake, like this, one builder's truck, large size, and bags like this. One person in roughly 2 hours can do a whole shopping area similar to the one in Page Hall, similar to the one in Burngreve on the Green, and here in Firth Park. Green City Action is interested in supporting the work of the litter pickers. I think we'll all agree that litter is a huge problem in this area and that existing service provision somehow isn't working. When I put questions to the service providers, they tell me they're doing the best they can, and that's the answer you get back from them. I've developed this system over 2.5 years. This rake head costs £3 online and lasts 1 month. You can put it on a lightweight stick or a piece of bamboo, and you can do it one-handed. You can get an area very large sorted very, very quickly. So I don't know if anyone's noticed that if they're driving through Page Hall, that sometimes maybe for about 4 or 5 hours it's clean, and then the litter starts again. So I've worked out that this method needs to be done every 2 days in Page Hall and in Burngreve, and possibly in Firth Park. I've not been this far out because I'm Burngreve based, so I don't know quite how bad it is here at weekends. So.
Also Wednesday as well, because the spec from Page Hall is done bottom of Wednesday and top.
Yeah, I go from the lights to the lights sometimes. I've done that, but I know where you mean. So it obviously litter blows around. It's very lightweight, most litter. Most litter, apart from fly tipping, can be sorted with this thing. It's very easy. You don't get a hand ache, and you don't have heavy equipment. So it's all very light. You can put this on the back of your bike, you can cycle with it, you can walk with it. What else do I need to say? Yeah. So the idea is that you can see this bit is on Owler Lane here, and that was just done by me with this rake and truck method. So that was done one morning. I did that whole row from the garage down to the little snicket channel that goes up into the woods in about an hour and a half. That's one person. So what I'm proposing is that a couple of workers for safe working work together with this method. They go to the worst places in North Sheffield, and then they get on electric bikes and zip over the hill and do Burngreve as well, all in one morning. And they do that every 2 days. They have a key to the bins, so they open the bins, they empty the bins and rebag everything in the bins so that the overflowing bins are not there. At the moment they're emptied, I think they're emptied 3 times a week, is that correct? Yeah, and that isn't enough. And most of the litter that I see comes from those commercial, public and domestic bins. They come from those bins. So if, as a litter picker, you see one of those bins and it's overflowing, get it in the bag, tie the bag up and put it by the side, then it will stop it moving up and down the street. The same litter is blowing backwards and forwards, depending on the wind direction. So the proposal is that for £8,000 a year, you can employ someone at 15 hours a week, £20,000 pro rata, and they could do this job rather than it be down to volunteers. So I'm proposing that somewhere, either through partnership, we get funding to fund the position, or it comes from council. Instead of paying 270 million for over 40 years to just the Streets Head, just to Veolia, just the Parks and Countryside, that they're actually giving it to local community groups who can do the job better. I'm suggesting that this method does do it better because it takes everything off the grass, off the pavement, and the overspill from bins. This is another worst area outside Tesco's. This is just after it's been done by this method. It's usually covered. That's usually ankle deep. It's usually blowing around. That's after I finished. It lasts about a day. This is the kind of thing we're seeing as well, fly tipping in the area. I can bag that up and make that tidy. I can't really deal with that problem. We need 24-hour tip sites open where vans can come and do that in a designated area and not on the side of a beauty spot. Yeah, so, that's it. We're all a bit fed up with it and we want solutions. This is a solution. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Malcolm. You do a wonderful job in communities, and this is a case study. And we'll take it from there. We'll discuss what we can do better for our communities. We have discussion between LAC manager and myself. We are working with other LACs. What will they propose centrally? We'll see how we can move forward. It's not the issue just in Burnley, it's the issue in all Northeast. Because when we had the last meeting of Chelsea School, in that meeting there was a discussion between all 4 wards and the constituents, and everybody raised that issue. That's why we asked you to come and give us the presentation. Thank you very much. Yeah, go on.
I just wanted to ask, is the proposal that someone from Green City Action would be employed or that the council would employ somebody to do it?
The proposal is that Green City Action would manage 1 to 12 workers who would connect up the worst areas in North and North East Sheffield, using electric bikes, second-hand electric bikes if need be, using this equipment that clips onto carabiners. They go out to those areas, they sweep the street with this, they bag it all up, they report it to existing services. So it's working in conjunction with existing services. It's a little marginal extra cost. I'm suggesting that Green City Action does manage that because we've got the skills to do it. And it would just encourage maybe people to get out of their vehicles and get on the street and pick up the litter where it is, not where it isn't. Yeah.
Mick?
Very interesting, but I don't know the ins and outs of how collecting waste goes. Obviously, there's contracts for bins and all the rest of it. Street sweeping, I'm not so sure about. But it seems to me that what you're suggesting is a really good idea. And if you're talking as LACs, because therefore your councillors talking to each other, therefore you're embodying the council, it would seem to me something like this should be tried. Even if you can't afford to do it for the whole area, for the whole city, you could say, let's concentrate on particular wards. And you could concentrate on some wards which are maybe worse than others, and even some wards which are notoriously tidy. You know, just see what it works over in those. And I think small-scale trials should be something that we cannot be afraid of supporting or using. And even if it means saying to Veolia or whatever these days, you know, let's have some money back, support this, see if they're better than your system, and we can evaluate it. So I would be really disappointed if everybody said this is an interesting idea and stopped. I think it's got to be an interesting thing to do. And I, as a member of this sort of area, this neighbourhood, I think it would be something well worth doing. And I'm not saying do it here. I'm saying, for Christ's sake, do it somewhere and see how it works.
Yeah, I agree. I've been trialling this for the last 4 or 5 months, list picking for 2 years. And I've just after sort of realised that this works better than anything else I've done. It's not very noisy because the metal rake makes a noise. There's lots of subtlety to it.
Almost irritating, whirring, blowing things that somebody comes along and blows leaves from one corner of the street to the other, but never actually gathers them up. It seems to me that something like this works very well, very tried and tested.
But not in a gale force wind. It doesn't work that well.
Well, it's not wouldn't work well in the gale
No.
Thank you.
Question on things, don't mind, Chair.
We had somebody else in the meeting before. Please interrupt me.
Straight up.
Oh, God. Sorry. Shall I hold it or will you hold it? Oh, you hold it. Because it's heavy. I'm Sheena Clark. I'm from this ward, from Firth Park. I'm involved in, I chair actually, co-chair Friends of Firth Park. We do a lot in the area. And we do a lot of litter picking, the traditional method, so I'm really interested in this new method that you're suggesting. And certainly we'd be very keen to try that out. I was talking to the LAC people, well, you and others, earlier today about picking up some additional litter picking equipment. So it'd be really good if you could get some of those things so we could try it out in addition to the more traditional, single person litter picker that we know and love, but, it's much more labour intensive possibly and less speedy. So I think your idea, I don't know your name, but of piloting it, and I would suggest piloting it in the North East, well certainly I would say Burn, Grieve Ward and Firth Park to begin with, would be a very good idea, and we'd be very keen to participate and get involved in that here, the Firth Park litter picking group here.
Thank you, Sheila. Now, what do you want to?
Sorry, if you could just introduce. Right, okay. Watek Gaba, I'm the chair of Wednesday Tara. I feel that we seem to be patching things, we're trying to catch up with litter, and not actually trying to get at the root of the start of the problem in itself. There should be some fines given to people, households who are dumping. We are receiving an infestation of rats onto the Wednesday Park, Wednesday area, because of the Page Hall rubbish that's been dumped. And more is dumped. I'm surprised bells have not rang already about this issue. So I think what ideas have you got? What ideas are you going to propose to actually deal with it? I commend you completely with all the hard work that you're doing, and I support that idea of yours fervently. But I think we also need to look at the root cause, because everything that's been happening in the last couple of years has just been patching and running after what's happened. We've not actually come to actually solve or put a fine on the landlord or the household or whatever to actually get this sorted. Rats are vermin, and they're coming up to my area. People in the summertime are scared of opening their windows and garden doors because of the rats going to come in. And the rats don't care, by the way. They're not scared anymore. They're not the ones that run away when they see a human being. They just walk right past you and say, I'm going anywhere. So really, we need to see the root solution tackled, if you don't mind. Thank you.
I've seen the rats becoming much more friendly over time. They just sort of wobble past you now. But yeah, what I've noticed is when you get rid of rats, when you get rid of the litter, stop nesting next to where the litter pile is. So if there's a consistent litter pile that's there over time, the rats will nest next to it, and then they'll be in your cellar, and then they'll be running through the cellars, and you've got that problem. If you get rid of that litter pile on the street, and you get rid of it within 24 hours, you've got a better chance, I think, of getting rid of the rats. If you want to get to the root problem, it's to do with the 2011 Conservative Party Housing Act that made overcrowding possible for landlords. Once you've got overcrowding, and you don't have bins, then you get excess rubbish in gardens. Then people think, I've got loads of rubbish in my garden because the amount is phenomenal. So then they take out of their garden, they put it on the street as far away from the house as they can, as far as they can carry it, or their children can carry it. And then you get a big pile of rubbish in the street. This has been happening in Page Hall for 6 or 7 or 8 years. And that's the origin of it is there, if you want to go to cause. But ongoing, there's still an excess of rubbish in people's gardens and in their houses, and that comes out onto streets. There is a habit of people taking rubbish, sweeping out of their houses, sweeping it out of their cars, so their cars are immaculate, but the curb is dirty. The same with their houses. I don't know how you alter that behaviour, but you can pick it up straight away so people don't notice it. So if there's zero tolerance for litter, that's my approach. Yeah. But there are obviously causes, but I'm not too bothered about them. I'm worried about the effect.
Thank you. Before you come, Bridget, I'm going to ask Mark to reply on the questions.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Tally. I've seen Malcolm in action for many, many years. He is a monster with his rake, and it does work really, really well, I can assure you. It's a lot more efficient and effective, certainly where there's lots of litter, at getting it up off the ground, for sure. But with that, you're quite right. That it isn't just about clearing it up and applying a sticking plaster to it. It's not like we're trying to hold back the tide like King Canute on the beach or anything like that. This is one of many strands that we will need to employ. We already do find people. It kind of works, it kind of doesn't, because we've issued lots and lots of fines, yet we still see lots and lots of litter. There is education ongoing. I know that the schools are looking to work with officers to see what more we can do to make sure that the awareness of litter and its causes, and let's be honest, the reason there's litter on the street is because of people dropping litter. It's maybe not you and me, because we wouldn't do that, but litter on the street does occur because people drop litter. Whether it's actually throwing out large bags of litter or the bins overflowing or whatever, it's careless displacement of your waste that you're responsible for. And I know most people here are responsible and they wouldn't do that, but there's lots of people who do it inadvertently. It's not always a deliberate act. But there is many, many strands that need to be done. This is one really good answer, and I know from ongoing discussions within the council that Malcolm's ahead of the curve on this one. He's already been doing this, he's already been trialling it, it's already working. We know that this approach can work and we know it can have benefits in there, and that's where we're at. But we're not going to say that this will be the silver bullet that does everything. It's just going to be one of many, many strands that we need to keep pursuing. And to be honest, even if we get it fixed next year, it would never stop. It will keep evolving and keep moving forward. We'll keep needing to have these conversations. It's just the nature of litter. It has gotten worse recently, but it's been bad for a while. It's not just the last 4 or 5 years. It's been bad for ages, depending upon who you ask. So this is something that's really, really good, and I think it's something we all want to grow. Yeah.
It's not getting any better, it's getting worse. And I'm also getting members of my community thinking, if they can do it, we can do it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, you've got to be decent citizens and don't go with that trend. Why should we have to go all the way to the tip? And everyone is law-abiding in their rubbish cleared, but now they're seeing what's happening down in Beijing and the extra investment that's being given to that part of the world, and they're not seeing any solutions. People are thinking that this is the new law. And you've seen that little video of that lady being beaten, that police officer. They're already thinking, what are they getting away with, these people? Now, I'm not racist, I'm not sexist, I'm not any of that kind of thing. I'm just to put the facts there. I hear what you're saying, but it's not, everything that's been happening so far doesn't seem like an action plan that's actually started to relieve a little bit.
So, to come back on that one, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm a politician, but I'll pick an argument with you. Law-abiding citizens dropping litter because they see others doing it. It's a crime. They're not law-abiding. They're dropping litter.
They are saying it, they've not done it.
I think let him answer first.
What Malcolm's saying is zero tolerance of litter. No tolerance of litter from anybody. And that's the position we want to get to. Because then when people start respecting their communities, hopefully they'll start respecting each other and themselves more. We're all on that one path, for sure. So yeah, I hear what you're saying, but we just have to be careful and not make excuses for those that actually really genuinely can't be bothered. We can have that conversation elsewhere.
Thank you, Mark and Wafik.
Hi, Bridget Kelly. I'm a resident of Southie. So, Malcolm, I think this is a fantastic idea. I love the fact that it's community-based, and I think it is an alternative to maybe the council services that exist. And picking up that point that Mark made about education, what was actually being done around that, because I think there's two strands. So little kids are really interested in litter picking. It starts tailing off around about 7 to 9. It's not cool. But I just wondered if there was something happening with primary schools. And then for secondary schools, litter picking could be part of climate change qualification. And that is something that we're trying to get on the core curriculum. Because you're absolutely right that we need to get education into this. And I don't know about you, but if anybody knows a 5-year-old, they are bossy. They will tell their parents what to do. They will be ashamed. They will shame their parents. So I think at that level, investing, and I think that, I wonder if Green City Action, that would be something that they'd be interested in exploring as well with schools. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Green City Action is looking into kind of developing effective environmental education packages that can be rolled out to schools as a service. But from our experience, it's quite a tough gig, because the amount of prep that you need. You're mobile. You're not in the school. You're going into the school with a product that gets used up. And then you're taking away the waste product and going back to base. It's a complicated issue. So we're looking into funding a research project into what would work best with the existing curriculum. But it'd be really great, I agree with you, that there should be an additional environmental kind of awareness qualification as part of the curriculum. That would be a great addition to schools. And I know they're doing loads. And we have done a lot already with schools. We did a litter picker in Abbeyfield Park with 80 6- and 7-year-olds a couple of months ago. It was great. So chaotic, but good. Yeah.
Thank you, Malcolm. Can I bring now Lindsey Hill? Regarding the other discussion we had about the litter, how we're going to tackle that. Before I bring you, Lindsey.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention a couple of things that the LAC's been doing over the last year, 2 years now. We've had £100,000, and on the board over there it gives a bit of a flavour of some of the things we've done. We've reported back every meeting. But in particular, we know environmental issues like what we're talking about today and what Malcolm's brought to us is high on the agenda, and one of the priorities that came out the highest when we did the consultation the last year. And then at the last meeting, it was one of the highest issues again. So just want to tell some of the things that we've done this last year, and then really about going forward and some ideas maybe we could work with and bring to the table. So one of them were that Sheena gave us a bit of a shout out about the litter picking equipment that we've been providing. So we've been providing hoops, some of the stuff Malcolm's mentioned. We've got rakes, we've got high visors, we've got the hoops. At the libraries, we've got bags and we've got pickers. So if anybody wants any of that equipment for their volunteering litter picking, come and talk to us and we can get that to you, and we can also order more. We've also got the trucks that you mentioned, so we've got a few of those and we can order some more of those. So that's to support the litter pickers and the volunteers that we've already got out there. And I know you've done some of the spring cleans and things like that, and we've funded those as well. Some of the other projects that we've done, we've got 57k per LAC for the fly tipping, and we're just working with solutions. So we've got some of the top 3 fly tipping sites that we've picked, which are in Burngreve, and we're looking at some sustainable solutions to that. Some around fencing, barriers up, that kind of thing, moving boulders in. So we're just working with the contractor at the moment to put that in place, and we'll hopefully have some more money left off that we can then move to some other sites. So if you've got some high sites that you think are an issue, then come and talk to us and we can get them on there as well. With regards to the primary schools that Bridget just mentioned, that's actually in the plan to do some campaigns with schools. So we've just done recently the dog fouling campaign, so we're putting up posters around pick up your poo, a favourite topic, but also working with it, because one of them is at the side of the school, so we're working with the primary school on doing litter picks around their education, so when they're walking with the parents, pick it up, don't leave it. Making sure there's bins around. Bins is a massive issue, so we're putting more bins in parks and things like that. And then the other one I was going to mention was this next coming year, we're asking you for the ideas. So I know you were talking about you want ideas and what services provide. It's limited what we can do, and we know that we're not solving everything. But we want the ideas off you. What do you think we could do, or what do you think would be helpful? So what we would like you to do is come and tell us that. So tell us what you think we need, where there's not a bin, where you think something's not right, or some ideas if it's education or whatever that is. And then we can bring that. We haven't got all the ideas, and we haven't got, but we could actually work with that to bring some of those solutions to the table in this next year. And in the plan for this next coming year, we've talked about having an environmental project that will be thoroughly focused around the environmental issues like pests, like your litter, dog fouling, all the major issues that we've got, but combining them and trying to really come up with some solutions and do some targeted areas across the area that we could do. So I just wanted to add that in to say that's the kind of stuff that we're doing. We know we've only put a little dent in it, but hopefully we'll make that progress this next coming year a bit more as well. And like I said, talk to us and tell us, because then we can use that to give it back. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Lindsay. You can ask your question. Are you sure? Yeah. Anybody else want to ask any question? Councillor Sophia.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Councillor Sophia Saeed. I also run some community groups at Burn Grief. I just wanted to tell you a few things about working with Malcolm on City Action. So we've got young people, and to educate them through young adults. So we're talking about 13 to about 19. We didn't tackle the litter picking straight away. We sort of, Malcolm came in, did a session about nature and about green spaces and how to keep the environment good. And then he booked us a visit to Whitworth House, and he told the young people how it was about 15 girls. We've taken teenage girls, and he told us about the history about the house, and then after that we went to the garden place after that. Then we brought some plants over to Verdon Recreation Centre around, which is very full of fly tipping, and the school, it's, you know, a primary school coming out, going to the local shop. You can imagine every day the sweets and the wrappers that are there, although we always clean and the shopkeepers are cleaning, but still. So we decided to do flower beds by the young people, and that kind of education is really good for our young people to take it forward, and they understand what plants are, how to look after the environment. The other one is that every summer we take the young people in the middle of Spittal Hill, and we do a major litter picking. Number one, for intergeneration, for, you know, a lot of elderly people to have a look at positive side of the young people, and also for the young people to respect the environment, and for other people that feel that they can't make a difference, to look at these young examples and young ambassadors and help them to clean up, and for them as well to get good reference, good UCAS points, CVs, something to put something in the future. So communication and working together in all aspects of life really work. We also have a GP drop-in on Tuesdays, and we sort of go out there and try to explain to everyone who is not digitally friendly but has a good phone about street ahead, how to, what does it mean by when a rubbish is left, how do you connect the number of the pole into the rubbish of the area, and how to report, because without the residents and myself, I live in the area, without us reporting, they weren't there, and we can't even challenge them, because it takes the community and the services to work together, and that's definitely how it is. So if they don't remove it, so we did hiring skips, so Malcolm came in, we had skips everywhere, we've got young people, families, we knocked on the door, we said, if you've got any rubbish out, put it in the skip, but they decided not only that, they can all come and clean with us, we did. The rubbish was, instead of leaving it for 24 hours, they left it for a week. Banging our heads, we finally got it cleaned, we got full apology, but the idea, sometimes the services are slow, but we need to collect ourselves to push it forward, but we can't push it forward as residents if we're not together ourselves, but not to leave any man behind or any young person behind as well, and making sure that the next generation gets that gone. So when it comes to primary school or secondary school, we always try to talk to the parent governors so they can put it in the assembly, and to always encourage young people and say, put it on your CV, put it on your experience, put it on something like that. So young people will never go for something unless there's something in it for them. So communication, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think most of your questions been answered. Thank you very much. Can I thank Malcolm again? Thank you very much for your time and effort. Give a round of applause. Thank you.
What we're gonna do, we're gonna do about the areas. We're gonna improve a lot of things. But to be honest with you, you know me since 2019, and I do a petition, and I go to town hall, and every time I done, slip James for 3 months where he is. Maybe he's here. Yes. One is these people is in front of our houses playing football, music, throwing stuff in our windows and our doors and everything, and nothing. Council didn't do nothing. And we said, all of us, we said, close that place where they're playing, and you ignore us. Now, after 4 years, they decided to put camera. And I said to Talib, I said, the camera didn't do nothing. These people, they didn't understand anything. Now what they're doing, in front of the camera, they're doing fire every night. They're doing fire. And they're throwing rocks to the camera. And when we didn't say anything. Check your camera. Now they said, we said they're doing soil and bushes. And they said, the councillor said, the housing, they keeping deleting it's putting the soil and the bushes. Why? What you know, all of you, you know how we're suffering from that place, and we said, do something about it, and nothing is happening. This is not from now, this is from 2012. And Talib, he know about it, he moved the chairs from there, and we keep in telling at the council, I'm calling the police every night, we couldn't go to sleep. My kids, they're in uni, they can't go to sleep. I have kids in primary and secondary school, and we couldn't go to sleep. No day, not night. And we keep telling the council, and all of the councillors, they know about it. And to be honest with you, we didn't see any improvement since we say we start, to speak to you, you ignore us. And our, our area, we feel is very neglected. Wensley is very neglected. The rubbish everywhere. Now we have a flat. They don't have, they bring in only people for 3 months and they go. And they don't have a black bin. These people, they put in their rubbish out and all the rats everywhere. This is, what is it? That's, now, today I came here, I want to know why is the soil and the bushes is keeping deleted. Why? When the councillors, they said, okay, do that, maybe this is going to be improve the area, and less is going to be, make us to sleep 5 hours or 4 hours a day. But we couldn't. Wasik, he know the area, he's my next door neighbor. He know the area, and he hear these people, and we keep telling the council, and everyone is ignore us. We want solution, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your concerns. Well, if you remember that back in 2012 there was a different issue when you highlighted and you requested the benches to move, and we moved those benches into park. That issue wasn't there after that for a long time. That new issue has started a few years back, but it's not easy solution. One day we can't resolve. Yeah, but well, I'm sorry. I feel your pain. Let me, explain to you. Now, I think we are on the verge to complete the project, and you have been patient. I think it's a little more time give us, and it's going to be resolved. I hope it's going to be soon. It's going to make a huge difference in your lives. Thank you very much. Well, police is watching, and don't worry. They are. We have to move on. Thank you very much. Next item on agenda is minutes of the previous meeting. We got correct. So the item 5 we have deferred the minutes of previous meeting. Page.
Page 9.
Page 9, meeting held on 2nd March. All those are correct, true record of them? Agreed? Any matter arising, page 9. 10, 11, 12, page 13, page 14, page 15, meeting held on 17th May. On page 17.
Yeah.
Any matter arising? Yeah. Thank you very much. Item number 6. Local Area Committee spend report. Lindsey? Listen to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Within your packs, you've got the agenda item 6. I think it's in there, and it's a spend report. It's nothing different really from what I brought last time. So every time we come, we report back what the spend is and what we've done. So within it, there's 2022-23. It's got actual spend and remaining budget. The last time I bought some committed spend from this year, which will be delivered in next year, which I've talked about some of that already, just in the last bit we've talked about today. The surplus that's left will be rolled over into 23-24, so into the CNC. So, for example, with business employment and skills, we've got about £1,000 left. That'll be rolled over in this year's financial year under business employment and skills. I'm coming today, Chair, to ask for a recommendation to note the expenditure of the £100,000 against the 2022-23, and it will be consulted in the next...
Note. And this recommendation is just, is, well, question from Sheena.
Sorry. What I'm a little bit, let me take those off, I can see you better. I don't quite understand how the decision is made on the different items of expenditure. So is that just from the ward pot, or is it? Anyway, that's basically
it's not ward pots. This is different
No.
No, so it's different. So,
Sorry, yeah.
so where are the decisions made about each of the different
Okay, so we've got...
items expenditure under each heading? That's what
The LAC's got three lots of funding attached to it. So ward pots is one of those fundings, and those decisions are made by the ward councillors. So people put applications in, or groups and organisations ask for funding for a particular activity or a project, and then the ward councillors, 2 out of the 3 have to agree, and then we fund that through the ward pots. The other lot of funding is still which is community infrastructure levy. So when developers are in their area, they put so much of their money to one side and it has to be redeveloped within the area, and that's used for community infrastructure. That applications come forward for that, or proposals for a project for that. That goes through the ward councillors for them to endorse it, and then it's Councillor Richard Williams as the committee chair and our director who approves that at that level for this still funding. And then what we've got is the local area committees funding, which is the £100,000. So within this, I'm explaining the spend that we've done on the £100,000. We have to bring that spend to the meeting. The committee have to agree that spend and what we're spending it on, and then we can deliver that going forward. We've got delegated authority, which just means that we can deliver things under £5,000. But what the projects or the activities that we're delivering is born out of is these meetings and consultation and engagement. So an example would be the litter picking equipment. People said that they needed more litter picking equipment and that it'd be really beneficial if they'd got these things and give a bit of a wish list. The committee agreed to fund the litter picking equipment, so we ordered that in and that became available. So that's what it's born out of. So there's some surplus money left. There's some projects and activities that we agreed last year, like the Good Bad Parking scheme that we're working with schools with, that will be delivered this year. So all we're asking for is for the surplus to roll over to next year. So that's how the decisions are made. So it's really important if we've got ideas to put them down, and then we can find ways to fund that through our different funding streams. Thank you.
So if we have an idea, we could just come to you.
Yeah.
And then that would go forward
yeah,
for discussion.
and then we can filter through which funding might be. We might have other funding in the council that might be more appropriate, or even externally. But we could then say to you which way we could fund it and how we could do that. So any ideas anybody's got, or groups or organisations, come forward and let us know, and we can work with you on that to help support that. Thank you.
Meg?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's not from Brent Park. Just to, I missed a point, I think. Are you saying the money that wasn't spent in 22-23 gets rolled over into next year, into next financial year, 23-24?
Yeah, so what we've... Sorry, I can't see you, Meg. What we've got is there were money that we'd already spent, so that's what we brought in to say we've spent this money already, and the activities of what we've already delivered. There's some that we've postponed into 23-24 because we weren't able to deliver it in last financial year, and then the surplus that we're remaining. So at the meeting that we came to, we allocated a proportion. So the business employment and skills theme, we allocated £4,000 to that, and it was an approximate rough allocation of what we thought we might spend. We've spent some of that already. We've got some more to deliver, and then the surplus we're saying will go into business employment and skills, but will go into 2023-24, if that makes sense.
I was just checking that, because having experience of budgets, sometimes if it's not spent by the financial year, it gets wiped out.
No, members agreed to roll over, and we actually rolled over Ward Pot, which was only a small sum that was underspent. The like 100k, we got an agreement to roll that over, which is really great, and still is a rolling figure anyway.
Okay, there's just one item I'd like you to comment on, or anybody to comment on. I notice in the budget funding, I think it's the Welcoming Place partnership. The actual spend was nearly 15 grand, and the committed spend agreed was 5. I don't mind you spending more money on the Welcoming Spaces scheme, but is there any comment on that? It's actually 3 times what the budget was.
Councillor Flanders?
Yeah, the budget for that was that we actually allocated £20,000 for it. So, sorry, I haven't found it on here. If it doesn't say £20,000 on it, I don't know, I haven't found it.
15,951. Committed spend agreed was 5.
Oh, well, it's a mistake on there then. We definitely allocated £20,000. Oh, you found it? Yeah. Yeah. And again, what's not left is rolling forward and people can still apply for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Done. That lady over there.
Hi, my name's Margaret and I'm from Friends of Concord Park. We were successful in the warm space doing the knit and natter, and we're just wanting to know, will the money be there again this year?
Lindsay?
Yeah, so what members agreed was to carry on funding that. So we did leave it last financial year if you'd got the funding then, but then you could come back this year and ask for more money. And actually we're going to try and work a bit more with you to understand who's coming through the door, what you might need extra and what we might do. So that's another one where get your ideas forward for us on what who's coming through, what you might need and what activities you might be providing as a welcoming place, and then we can help support that as well. Thanks, Margaret.
Councillor Brown, Belvoir.
Sorry, yeah, we did actually, as part of this year's budget, I don't think we've actually worked through exactly what the figure is yet, but there was an extra £400,000 committed to local area committees, all 7 local area committees, specifically to tackle the cost of living crisis, which might not all be spent on small grants. We'll look at the best ways of doing that. And that will be divided up so that the areas that need it most will get more of that funding. So we have specifically put money aside to support people across the city with the cost of living crisis, because we know how much that's affecting people, especially in our area.
Thank you. Any more questions from floor? Thank you. So we're going to have a break, and then we can have conversation with the organisation here of the stalls, and then we can come back, reconvene the meeting after 6:45. Then we can have public questions and petitions if there is any. Thank you very much. Any question? Margaret. Where is Dan? Excuse me, Dan. Oh, back there, second row.
My question is... my name's Margaret Whelan from Friends of Concord Park. There's supposed to have been a consultation held about the multi-sport functions going to be privatised, where you've got to pay to go onto the mugger and to the tennis courts. We've not had a consultation at Concord. The first time I heard is when Hillsborough got in touch with me about it. Does any of the councillors know?
Councillor Frank?
I know a little bit about it because I sit on the charities subcommittee. So that it came through about Hillsborough Park, because Hillsborough Park is a charity. So my understanding is that the Lawn Tennis Association are doing some investment into local tennis courts as well as building a hub at Hillsborough Park. And I must admit most of what I know is about Hillsborough because that's what came to the charities sub. My understanding were that where there were free tennis courts, which I think was Concord and High Hazels, they would still be free, but there might be some paid for facilities alongside. But I can check into that and get you some more details about that and clarify to you. I know at Hillsborough they're concerned. I mean, the tennis courts there are paid for anyway. And they do want to do some developments on their mugger and what have you. So I think that's, Stuart's here and could probably tell you a little bit more, if that's, which will probably be more accurate than what I'm saying.
Hi, I'm Stuart Turner from Parks and Countryside. Just to kind of maybe reassure you that the plan is with the tennis operation is to continue as it is, but the current deal has been on a 5-year basis with the current operator of Parks Tennis in the city. The plan has been proposed to take that into a 25-year deal, so it would secure the kind of the maintenance and management of tennis courts, outdoor tennis courts that are part of that deal across the city in the current arrangements. So, for example, Concord would remain a free tennis court area. Places like Hillsborough, where there's already a charging mechanism for those courts, and other sites like Weston Park would continue to be charged. So it's basically the change or the proposal is around the extension of the arrangement for a 25-year deal rather than as a 5-year deal, but no change to the way that the charging mechanism that currently operates would be operating in the future, if that makes sense. The current organisation is a community interest company called Courtside. It used to be called Parks Tennis, and they're the group that help facilitate people's use of the tennis courts. So they'll run some sessions at Concord Park. So that's how they're maintaining or supporting use of those courts. But on the whole, they're free courts which are available for use for anyone. Looking at the wrong person. Yes, to my understanding, that should be courtside.
Any other question? Right there.
I'll just wait for the thing again. Oops, God, getting old. This isn't actually a question, sorry, but I just wanted to draw people's attention as they're leaving this meeting to the various improvements that have gone on in Firth Park recently, particularly to the roundabout. We're very fortunate we've had some rain, so it's looking particularly good at the moment. But I just want to point out that most of that work has been done by volunteers. You know, it's actually people in Firth Park coming together to improve the area. And I think the knock-on effect of that is that people take pride in the area. And although we do still get litter, I think it is quite noticeable. I haven't got any scientific evidence for this, I'm sorry, but so it's quite anecdotal. But I do think our streets are much cleaner than they used to be. I know we get a better service, slightly better service from Amy than other areas because of the area being designated as a principal shopping centre. But nevertheless, I do think people do take more pride in their area because of the things that we've been doing as a local community.
Thank you very much. You are doing a wonderful job. Thank you for the Friends of Firth Park and Little Picker Group. Thank you very much. Any other question from anybody else? Seems silent. Thank you. Well, that's why it's quiet. Thank you very much for your attendance. Next meeting is going to be on 19th September in Bengrave Ward. Venue to be confirmed. We'll let you know. Thank you very much. Thank you for the officers and sport workers for their help and support. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for your attendance again.